Today's video, I'm going to be going over how to become an effective Mercy player. She's relatively easy. She's probably the easiest to get used to. To be an effective healer, to be an effective Mercy player, you have got to try your best to not only heal and buff when you need to, but also to survive. The healer must survive. If you get picked, your team is now down bad, especially if you're a Mercy, because you're so destructive on the battlefield. I'm trying my best just to go from player to player. They're a little split off right now. We got Pharah that's in the air, and of course we have Roadhog that's inside the train. This makes it very difficult to heal when they're this split up. This is where comms are a little bit more important. Luckily, Roadhog, he's got his health, so I don't have to worry about him too much. I am kind of wasting time panicking, trying to heal my Roadhog, and as you can see, he goes down. This is mistake number one. If you guys look at the situation right now, Roadhog dove out by himself, and of course there are multiple enemies. We've got 2 enemies up there with him right now, and of course we have 3 down below, and I'm sure they were putting some shots on him. Most tanks will have a healer with them 90% of the time, so you really don't want to, as a tank, to go out there by yourself. Now let's talk about how this affects the healer, and this of course is me. This affects me big time. So as you can see right now, my 3 teammates are down below, and they're okay right now because we have another healer, but I'm better off helping the entire squad. I don't mind Roadhogs going off by themselves because, again, they can heal themselves. But when a Roadhog goes off and dives into a 1v2, 1v3, or 1v4 to 5, it gets real confusing because not only are they diving away, which pulls me from the rest of my team, these 3 guys, but they're basically committing themselves to death. And if, as a healer, you have to make a decision, do you want to follow your tank to his death, or do you want to help out the rest of your team? I like to try, even if my teammates make a mistake, to go out there and help them. So I'm going to go ahead and try to sneak this res. I believe I'm sneaking a res, and as you can see, you can kind of do it around the corner. You can't do it super far away, but you can get it off effectively. Notice the blue beam. I'm getting a buff off real quick, and I'm cycling it between the buff and heal, just so, oh, I barely got away, just so that my tank can, again, get a lot more damage off, especially if it hits that hook. But again, I want you guys to notice my tank dove off. He dove away from the main squad. Even when I rezzed him, he still stayed committed to that fight, and it put us in a real bad spot. 2 of my teammates have died, and here I am going for a very dumb play. Guys, do not go for rezzes like that. I got real lucky. The Roadhog did not hook me. All right, now we're all together. This is a healer's dream. This is what we want to see. Again, I don't mind tanks jumping away, but make sure if you're the tank, you come back to your healer. It's your prerogative to do that. And you can see I know exactly what my tank's about to do. He's going to go through the train once again. And look at the separation it causes from the rest of my teammates. And we talked about in the intro how important Mercy was as a healer. In my opinion, again, I think she's the most effective healer, period. She does way more healing than anybody else. If I go away from my team, they're going to be struggling because other healers will not be able to heal them as fast as I will, especially with my ult and the mass heal. That is amazing. We'll talk more about that as we see it here in a second. So we're in kind of like this choke point, and we want to break out. I'm not going to use my ult just yet. I'll wait for the enemy team to get a little bit closer, and then you're going to see me get a little wild with it. Usually there's 2 different situations I use my ult. One, we're really in trouble, right? I've got a Pharah that's a little bit damaged. I got one that's critical. Or 2, the fact that this is a choke point. It's a 5v5. We know we're about to get an intense fight. Now with Mercy's ult, this is something that's really cool. So Mercy's ult back in the day used to just res everyone that was down. And I was kind of upset it didn't do that anymore. However, after playing her a lot more, this is way more beneficial. So of course, with your E, you get the res off on a single player, and I believe it's a 15-second cooldown. With your ult, it does a few different things. One, you get to fly. This is huge. It makes it real hard for enemies to shoot you. Mercy is a very, might be the squishiest character in the entire game. Having this flying ability just turns into Pharah, and y'all know how hard it is to kill Pharah when she's flying around. So as a Mercy, again, I'm not going to put myself in the open if I don't have to. I'm going to try my best to keep myself around buildings like this so I can't be shot. But also I want you to look at the yellow. You'll notice how it's chaining to teammates. This is huge. If you're a Mercy, do not ult when your team is separated. It's a waste of an ult. Make sure you have at least 3 teammates up before you do it. That way, again, you can take advantage of the chain. Not only does it chain the heals, it also chains the buff, and you can really do a lot of damage and a lot of good as far as pushing the enemies back. And unfortunately, despite ulting, one of our teammates wasn't there, so it was a 4v5, and we kind of got just completely pushed through. No one really took advantage of it, and this team was actually really destructive. Now look, this is another thing too I really want to highlight. Look at the separation, right? Granted, Pharah has a lot of mobility, but look how far away they are. So once, and this goes for everyone, not just a healer, but once your team gets hurt and gets hit, and you know that you've got a lot of distance between you and your teammate, you need to make your way to the squad. Of course, there are times you want to flank, but this is not one of them. We just got down bad. She needs to be healed. We need to regroup. There's only 2 of us up right now. The other 2 are spawning. These guys are closing in. We're going to have to try our best to get together and work as a squad in order to pull this off, because again, we are down extremely bad. Now, right now, we're basically in retreat mode. I'm trying to get my team to fall back. Another situation, there's 2 guys up. They need 3 of us, not to mention they have no healers. I understand they want to get here and stop them from capping it, but just take it as a loss, because it's exactly what it is. By the time we get here, we're already down bad. Fortunately, we're able to hold it, but it's only because of my elite healing ability and healing skills that we're able to pull this off. Now, right now, this is another thing I see a lot of players making mistakes on. And again, I just committed to that because my teammates committed. Another mistake you guys need to stop doing is when you hear Soldier 76 say, "I've got you in my sights," or you hear High Noon, or you just hear something that identifies an enemy ulting, please take cover. There's no reason for him to come out there and blast through my teammates. I ended up dying to Bastion, but that's all fine. I knew that Soldier was to the left-hand side again because of my headset, so I made sure I didn't put myself out there for him. Unfortunately, the rest of my team did, and well, you see their dead corpses on the ground. You know what went down. All right, so right now we're a little bit together. And again, you don't have to hug each other's butts. You absolutely do not. You can definitely flank. This game's rewarding for that, but you got to know if I'm down bad, if I'm in a 1v2, 1v3, I got to get back to my healer. All right, we're going to kind of hold this angle right here because the fight takes place. And I just want to show mistakes that I made as well that I got to be aware of. First off, I got a very aggressive Roadhog, which I 100% agree with. But as a Roadhog player myself, you've got to be very careful when you dive into 1v3, 1v4s. Just because you have that hook doesn't really mean much. If they have 2 teammates there, especially a healer, you got to bail away. And you see how he just instantly gets melted. Now, mistake I made as Mercy was I was not on his 6. I should have been, but I was too distracted healing the other teammates. Again, mostly because other healers are kind of weak when it comes to the healing abilities. And you'll see me kind of bounce back and forth between characters. I try my best to always stay aware of everything around me and bounce from teammate to teammate. And again, using the shift ability, it's really what helps you get around. All right, so right now it is a 2v2. I'm a healer. They do not have a healer. So we're pretty well off. One of our teammates decides to just full push in there and gets absolutely wiped by the other guy instead of staying near, again, the healer. But I try to stay on Roadhog as much as I can. I see that my teammate's critical. I'm going to try my best to adapt to that. Now, look, if you guys are not healers or you guys are ever playing DPS or a tank, make sure you do this. So right now, look, we have no enemies over here. Pharah just came down and they're critical. They literally have a bar of health. You need to be aware of your healer, right? Especially if I have a Mercy. Just peek that corner and I can shift to you. That's all you have to do. But because they don't, now as a Mercy player, it puts us in an awkward position because either I probably should have stayed with the tank because it takes too much time for me to walk there, but I have to walk. Remember, guys, be aware of your surroundings. If you're close to your healer, make sure you just peek the corner and help them out, especially if they're down bad. That's another thing you want to be aware of as a player in DPS is make sure your Mercy has a path to you if they are about to die. And again, look at this. We have a teammate down and our Roadhog goes absolutely crazy. He decides to ult in this situation. I do not agree with it at all, but I try my best to help him out. Again, this was psychotic. Do not ever go for a res, but I felt it was a clutch moment because, again, if I got him up, it's now a 5v4 instead of a 4v4, and we have a better chance of winning. Unfortunately, it didn't go down that way, and well, there's the team wipe. And again, it's a learning experience. There's a lot of ways to outplay enemies, and there's a lot of ways to have strategies with your squad members. Like, again, look at Roadhog going out there, contesting a Bastion. I'm gonna go ahead for another res, of course, and unfortunately, I can't res everybody. And again, they're just blowing through us. Like, I don't even know why my teammates is in the back like that. This is a moment where we got to stay together. Roadhog once again going into a crazy 1v5. And this is just a bad situation. The game's basically over. And I just kind of give up right here. So look, as a support character, you have to rely a lot on your tank and your DPS to do their job. In my eyes, support's one of the most difficult jobs. It's one of the most important jobs. It's one of those things where if you do it correctly, you can change the entire game. However, your teammates have to try to do something. If you've noticed anything from this game, it's that my squad really wasn't playing together from the beginning. And look, those of you who want to be a support player, don't give up. Stick with it. You will get better. You will get better teammates. You will eventually find a squad and you'll be able to heal a little bit more. This is a brand new game. There's a lot of people I'm playing with, a lot of randoms that have never played Overwatch before. So you kind of got to, understand that. So don't get frustrated. Don't get discouraged. Just stick with it. And there's a lot of healers that are still good. I like to say Mercy's the best. She's the most impactful, but there are still a lot of good healers. BAP has a really good healing ability and they're very aggressive. And you can see me again just rotating between the buff and the heal. Whenever I notice one of my teammates shooting an enemy, you just gotta remember, make it a habit to go ahead and buff them. No matter what you guys decide to play, if you do decide to play a healer, again, guys, don't get discouraged. Stick with it. Healing is a difficult task. It's a stressful task, but it's a rewarding task. Again, I think it's the most important role. A lot of people like to get kills and get DPS, but guys, being an efficient healer will decide the difference between a win or a loss. To decide the difference between what rank you're going to be when you play ranked. So make sure you guys try your best to, again, stick with it. If you find a good healer, invite them, add them as a friend. But guys, I really hope you enjoy the video. I'm gonna be going over different characters, and again, once we get into ranked, once the ranking system balances out and we don't get kicked and I start playing ranked, we'll start giving tips and tricks on how to get from bronze, silver, gold, diamond, all the ranking systems. And also, again, I'm a healer main, but I do play other characters and roles, so I'll be giving tips and tricks videos on that. If you guys have any characters in specific you'd like for me to break down, make sure you leave a comment section below. Let me know which ones you're interested in. What's your favorite character? Do you like Overwatch 2? And what are you looking forward to the most with Overwatch 2? But guys, again, I hope you have a good one. Good luck out there and try your best not to spend most of your time waiting for servers to connect.